Welcome to Top 5 Most Famous Women in History. While most famous historical figures always have been men, there are several women who managed to stood shoulder to shoulder with them and marked the history. Although it's considered that the power is reserved only for men, there have been ladies who have made a strong impact on the time in which they lived. With influence and charisma, these famous women have managed to make choices for the most important positions in society and were also able to change perceptions. What's common to all of them is that each of them gave her maximum, worked on it, left its mark, and made the world more beautiful and better place for living. Although it was very difficult to make this kind of list and we have to choose only 5 important women, take a look and see the top 5 most famous women in history.
5.
Indira Gandhi. Indira Gandhi was the most controversial figure of the 20th century and one of the most powerful political figures. Very loved and greatly hated Prime Minister, Gandhi done very much for her country and made India the mighty nation that it's today. She was the Prime Minister for almost 20 years until her death in 1984. Many people criticized her and accused her for being a corrupt politician and for implementing forced sterilization program to control the fast-growing population in India. 7 years after her death, her son Rajiv, who became Prime Minister after Gandhi's death, was also killed by a Tamil woman who had bomb planted in her backpack.
4.
Queen Victoria. Few women had the opportunity to rule an entire empire, but Alexandrina Victoria Hanover did that. This powerful woman ruled the empire that stretched from India to America and from Africa to the Far East, whole 63 years. She managed to double England in size and to preserve the territory almost without wars. Victoria formed liberal and conservative parties and expanded voting rights with the Reform Acts of 1867 until 1884. British were very traumatized with her death in 1901. Her name became a synonym for a whole era of history, which is called Victorian Age.
3.
Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc was a 17-year-old girl who took a discouraged army and won a victory despite of all odds. Joan of Arc was born in the French village Domremy, and she was able to defeat the superior British army and becoming a member of the royal court in just 1 year. During the battle she wore white armor and she was injured a couple of times. To what degree she led the French army is a debate to this day, but many historians agree that she was an amazing strategist and great leader. She was captured in May 1430 and her trial and death at the stake for alleged heresy was one of the most notorious in the history of convictions. This only increased her reputation among the people, and she became a real heroine, martyr and even one of the 5 patron saints of France. Cleopatra. Cleopatra was without any doubt one of the most famous women in history. She is well known for her beauty and her love affairs with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. Cleopatra was one of those women who adhered to the motto, "The end justifies the means." Because of that, she ordered the murder of her sisters and had numerous affairs, anything to get power. What cannot be blamed, of course, is her intelligence and determination to succeed at the highest levels of the Roman government. Cleopatra was able with her charm to get people to agree with the most incredible thing. Although she didn't live long enough to see her 40th birthday, she lived long enough to oversee the empire who stretched from the Atlantic Ocean to the Asian subcontinent.
1.
Mother Teresa. Born in 1910 in Skopje, Macedonia, Agnes Gangsabahiksu, known as Mother Teresa, is the most famous woman in history. She is well known in the world for her selfless work and dedication to the poor and helpless people, and earned a Nobel Peace Prize. She went as a missionary to Calcutta, India, and after the end of the Second World War she started to helping everyone who needed help. She founded the Missionaries of Charity in 1950 and started with only 13 members, but later this number became a staff of 4,000 nuns who run of orphanages and charity centers. Her name became a synonymous for charity and compassion, and she was one of the brightest lights of the 20th century. Her work has continued after her death in 1997.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.